It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, you want to rock and roll? Driving on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting a bone, getting high, getting shook. Watch for your bones, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's easy to do one night stands. Driving a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Rife, and welcome to another installment of the 2005 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We are here for Michigan for race number 23 of 36 of the 2005 Cup calendar. Going to be a long one here today. 60 laps from Michigan, and we take you to take a check at your starting lineup for today's race. On pole for today is going to be Kurt Busch in the 01 car for Chip Ganassi Racing, and starting side by side with him on the front row is Chad Little in the 28 for Robert Yates. Looking down the rest of the grid, Tony Stewart, last week's winner in the 20, will be in third, and Jeff Gordon starts side by side with him in fourth. Fifth place goes to Greg Biffle, one of the best at this racetrack, and Matt Kenseth, his teammate, will be side by side with him in sixth. Seventh will be Jeremy Mayfield, and Kevin Harvick will start in eighth place. Jerry Nader with a nice qualifying, he'll be in ninth, and Carl Edwards will start today's race in 10th place. Outside the top 10, Jeff Burton will be starting in 11th, Bobby Labonte with a 12th place starting position. John Wood will be in 13th, and Robbie Gordon will be in P14. Todd Bodine with a good qualifying, he will be in the 15th position, starting side by side with the championship leader, Ricky Hendrick, in 16th place. 17th goes to Ryan Newman in the 12, and Casey Atwood will be in 18th. 19th place goes to Kyle Busch, and 20th, Kenny Wallace. 21st will be Scott Riggs, starting side by side with Rudiman in 22nd. Scott Wimmer will be in 23rd, and Casey Kane in 24th. 25th goes to Sterling Marlin in the 22, and 26th will be Christian Elder in the 0. John Andretti will start 27th, and Johnny Sauter 28th. 29th is going to go to David Green, and Brian Vickers will be starting in 30th place. Tony Raines will be making a start in 31st, and Mark Martin 32nd. Jack Sprague will start this race in 33rd, with Michael Waltrip in 34th. Dale Jarrett will be in 35th, and Mike Skinner in 36th. 37th goes to Dave Blaney in the 77 car, and Eric Norris will be in 38th place. Augie Vidovic will start this race in 39th, and 40th goes to Jamie McMurray, a tough qualifying for the 40 car, as well as Mike Bliss, who will start in 41st, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. rounds out the field in 42nd position for today's race. 60 laps here for Michigan. We take you trackside for the Command. Most famous words in motorsports here in the Home Depot 400.
Drivers, start your engines!
And immediately going to have to restart with an in-game mechanical failure there. Pretty cool start. Haven't had to do one of those in a while.
Drivers, cars.
But rolling off on the grid here from Michigan, Kurt Busch on the pole and Chad Little in second. The fastest racetrack on the calendar, Michigan is. Speeds upwards of 210 miles an hour sometimes into turn 1 in the draft at this racetrack, and it is going to be closer racing than anywhere else in this calendar, I should say, with how close everybody gets in the draft and, of course, the high speeds. It's a scary mix, but a fun mix nonetheless. And with this season continuing to wind down, this title battle only gets closer. And with Hendrick a little bit down the order in the starting lineup, as well as Casey Kane, Kurt Busch looks poised to take advantage from the pole. But the pace car is going to peel off here for Michigan. 60 laps, and 01 and 28 will lead us to the green flag here from Michigan. Rounding turn number 2 for the first time as Kurt Busch takes the lead from pole down the backstretch. Field fanned out quite a lot on the start, as we always expect at this racetrack. Lots of 3 wide in the midfield as they head through 3 and 4 for the first time. 3 wide for second place behind Kurt Busch, who will lead the opening lap here today. Little all the way on the top, Tony Stewart in the middle, Greg Biffle on the bottom as they cross the start-finish line. Field stacking up behind the top 6 or 7. With a lot of cars under a blanket in the back, as well as up front, as Tony Stewart goes to the inside for the race lead. Busch, with the run off the corner, gets back clear. Little follows him through into second place. Jeff Gordon and Stewart going to continue to fight for third now as they head through 3 and 4. Kurt Busch pulling away a little bit from first as Little tries to fend off the 2 Chevrolets. Jeff Gordon underneath. Tony Stewart following in the tracks on the top side. Still just the top 6 throughout this front group right now. All the way down to Kenseth Biffle. Jeremy Mayfield a little bit of a ways behind in 7th as Gordon gets all the way up to Busch for the lead again. Couldn't stay underneath him. That top side working well at the start of this race now as they head down the backstretch yet again. Door to door for third as Stewart looks underneath Gordon for second. And the 24 will stay clear in P2. Mayfield joins this group as the 7th place car. 3 wide for the third spot as they head down the front stretch into turn 1. Greg Biffle all the way down to the bottom there. Stewart prevails in the middle line, catching up to Jeff Gordon for P2. Kurt Busch still leading up front as Little not going to let the 20 get away so easy. He jumps down to the inside into turn 3. Ooh, contact there between Greg Biffle and Mayfield as the 16 tried to get underneath his teammate, and the 17 actually ended up helping him as he picks up a couple spots there in turns 3 and 4. Moves all the way up to the 28 of Little for second place as they're going to go 3 wide yet again. Kurt Busch still loving these battles in his mirror as he's led all of the opening 4 laps in a row. Still everybody loosely connected bumper to bumper throughout the entire field. Little moves up into second place and stays there now as Kurt Busch continues to lead. Little trying to block the bottom with Greg Biffle with the run on the bottom. Rounding turn number 4. Couple of Fords in line, but not for long as Biffle ducks underneath for P2. Down the front stretch, side by side for second, as again Kurt Busch absolutely loving this. Here's Tony Stewart taking it 3 wide up the inside. Greg Biffle backs out immediately with that stack up. Bit of a conglomeration for second place there. Little again prevails. Jeff Gordon's going to try to go to the outside of the 28 car into turn 3. Side by side for that position as Gordon's going to look to get the run on corner exit. Outside's been looking pretty good so far today. Dead heat at the line between these 2 drivers as they race off into turn 1, still in the low teens of 200 plus miles an hour. Chad Little gets clear of Jeff Gordon off of turn 2 and once again remains in the second spot. Not a lot of movement, but a lot of attempts at movement so far early on. Little trying to cut Gordon all the way down. 24 said no thank you, got all the way underneath. has the run to the inside, trying to stay side by side with Little in a bit of tow, but Kurt Busch ducking down and giving Gordon the draft down the front stretch. And gets into second place. A big run out of turn 2 at the 01 as he heads down the back stretch. Not all the way up to him yet as Kurt Busch stays in front by about a quarter of a car length over the 24. Greg Biffle trying to drive it in on the outside of Tony Stewart. Stewart trying to get underneath the 28. Nothing doing for him as they race down the front stretch now. Jeff Gordon underneath trying to make it the first lead change of the day at the line. The nod goes to the 01 of Kurt Busch, but Gordon all the way clear into turn 1. And Jeff Gordon is your new race leader, rounding turn 2. Busch trying to get the run on the outside to stay in front of Little, and does. Jeff Gordon, no stranger to winning at this racetrack, and he has the race lead down the front stretch. 24:01 now as there is your first lead change. 3 wide for third place behind the 01 of Kurt Busch. Kenseth all the way on the bottom, Little on the top, and Tony Stewart in the middle. Stewart going to get clear of both of them as he rounds turn number 2. Kurt Busch trying to mount a counterattack on Jeff Gordon for the lead now as they head down the back stretch. Gonna look down there. Jeff Gordon gonna stick to the top side and give Busch the opportunity. Trying to get the run back on corner exit as they leave the turn. Dead heat down the front stretch, but it's looking like Busch is gonna have the lead by a hair. Stewart gonna try to follow the 01 down on the bottom as they enter turn 1. Busch back clear for the lead, only lost it for a moment. He's got the top spot back. And Stewart follows through into P2. Gordon going to try to retake second. Stewart trying to cut him down, but is going to get back clear off of turn 4. Gordon going to try to duck low yet again down the front stretch. Still even playing field for these guys, but Kurt Busch looking like the car to beat early as he's got that thing dialed in to start this race from the pole. Stewart with a big run out of turn 2 on the outside. Going to take that run all the way to the leader, Kurt Busch, and look low for first as they head down into turn number 3. Got all the way even with him as they drew into the corner. Side by side for first as Stewart trying to come out on top of this battle. Kurt Busch not giving up on the outside. Pulling all the way up to the door at the line. Tony Stewart grabs his first lap lead of the day. As they enter turn 1, still a dead heat between these two leaders. Busch trying to get the run on the outside. Stewart trying to hang tight on the inside. And down the backstretch, Kurt Busch once again has drawn clear and stays in that race lead. Masterful defense by the Ganassi 01 so far. Led the most laps by a landslide. Matt Kenseth now going to try to be the next car to take second place as he is going to get all the way clear of Stewart on the outside. And the caution flag is out. We are under yellow, I believe. There it is. Caution is out. Incident involving Michael Waltrip and others on the front stretch, or maybe a little earlier here. Ooh, yeah, looking like contact there as, yeah, Sauter. Like he probably just got a little tired of racing Michael Waltrip there and spins him around and hard into the wall himself as Waltrip goes for a spin. Yeah, I guess Sauter was just frustrated and drove off in there, tried to get underneath Michael Waltrip and just ended up jacking up his rear end and spins him around. Dave Blaney gets pretty lucky to avoid further involvement in that one, as well as Skinner. So we're under caution for the first time here for Michigan following the accident in turn 4, and the whole field's going to come into the pit lane for and fuel on lap number 14, coming to lap 15 as Kurt Busch leads everybody down. from the lead and the pole sitter, Kurt Busch, into his pit box looking for 4 and fuel on this pit stop, as is everybody else. Tires go on, jack goes off, and Kurt Busch will retain the lead following pit cycles here. Bit of a long wait for Little to get out of the box there. Nice stop by Bobby Labonte to move up a couple positions. Matt Kenseth retains second. We'll take you to intermission here from Michigan. Kurt Busch dominating this race so far, in the lead in the 01 car, ahead of Matt Kenseth in the 17, under the first yellow of today's race. And we're back here from Michigan with Kurt Busch in the lead. Again, led the majority of this race so far. Matt Kenseth, again, kept second place and will start in that position after the pit stops under yellow. Tony Stewart will be in third place in the 20 car. Bobby Labonte, a nice stop in the 18, moves up into fourth, and Jeff Gordon rounds out your top 5 in the 24. Biffle, Busch, Burton, Gordon, and Little round out the top 10 here. And one other driver worth noting is Casey Kane continues to pick up spots as this race rolls onwards. He's into the 12th position. Not a bad comeback so far for him. Pace car going to peel off. Kurt Busch leading the field to the green flag here from Michigan as we will start lap number 18 into the restart box and back underway. Matt Kenseth wasting no time trying to go to the outside on the initial start. As they head towards turn 1, he's going to get all the way there. A great jump by the 17. Busch will probably get clear as they get up to speed, and does. Kenseth going to try to bank on the run out of the corner. 3 wide back there as Biffle and Gordon jumped on the opportunity as well. Down the backstretch and into turn number 3, Kenseth and Stewart side by side. Stewart gets all the way up to Kurt Busch for the lead. We'll see how the adjustments on this pit stop pay off for these guys. Bobby Labonte going to take it 3 wide for third behind the 2 leaders as they race down the front stretch. Stewart going to jump down to pick up his teammate. This is a tight battle up in the top 5 as they enter turn 1. Tony Stewart trying to take over on the inside, but had to get out of the throttle, and Kurt Busch gets clear again down the backstretch. But Stewart, maybe a little bit of a second gasp down the back. Into turn 3, he's going to stay there on the 01 on the inside. Kenseth joins the mix and sits right behind the 20, giving Stewart a mirrorful as they leave turn 4. But Kurt Busch gets clear. Now Kenseth jumps to the inside. Side by side for second as they head down the front. Approaching a third of this race completed now. Ooh, Jeff Gordon cutting it close on the back bumper. A Kenseth there in turn 1. This is a tightly knit group of drivers up front, but Kurt Busch once again loving the show in his mirror at the moment. Matt Kenseth into P2. Gordon and Stewart side by side for second as the 24 is going to try to get underneath Kenseth. Can't quite do it yet. Kenseth going to block all the way low. Jeff Gordon forced to go to the middle maybe. Look at these guys in this pack up front. After this restart, it's everybody versus everybody. A melee up front. Tony Stewart trying to go around the outside of Kenseth for P2. Gordon looking to take it 3 wide as they enter turn 3 behind as Biffle's going to get stuck up on the top side. Kenseth getting a little loose in the middle. 3 by 3 as they leave turn 4. Tony Stewart clear in second place. Glad to get away from that mix. Casey Kane joining this group as well. Kyle Busch in it as well. Jeff Burton in the 99. Kevin Harvick and others all getting pulled up into this battle. And now Tony Stewart all the way for the lead as they enter turn 1. Stewart ducks back in the line as they head down the backstretch. Busch still defensive on the outside. Jeff Gordon goes down low to try and pass Stewart for P2. Tony gonna get clear off of turn 4. A little bit loose though. Gordon gets back down on the inside. Busch stalled out a little bit up front. Does Stewart have anything to get to the outside lane? 22 car having a tire go down. That is Sterling Marlin slow on the inside. Just about managed to duck out of the way. No debris off of him. Everybody gets around him clean. We stay green. The battle's still for the race lead. Stewart with an opportunity down the front stretch. He's going to get another lap led here over Kurt Busch with a good run off of turn 4 on the inside, and he's gotten clear before they even make it to turn 1. Stewart has the lead, but Kurt Busch with a big run out of turn 2 to try to take it all the way back to him. Gives him a mirror full down the back and into turn 3. He's going to duck low. Busch on the bottom, Stewart on the top. Inverse of the previous lap. Stewart with a little bit of a run on the outside. Marlin gets back to the pits safe. Even playing field into turn 1 for your 2 leaders as Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart enter the turn side by side. But it's Stewart with the defense on the top this time. Kurt Busch had to get way out of the throttle. Down the back now as Kenseth has an opportunity to take the fight to Kurt Busch. He goes to the inside entering turn 3. Stewart way out of the throttle out of turn 4. They look to maybe take him 3 wide. Stewart throwing a block on Kurt Busch. Here's Kenseth on the bottom side. Kenseth a little bit squirrely out of turn 2, and Stewart, is he going to get clear into turn 3? He does by a smidge, but going to give the slack to Kenseth, who stays on the bottom for 3 and 4. Out of 4, dead heat between these 2 leaders. Home Depot Chevrolet versus DeWalt Ford as they cross the start-finish line. Still Stewart up front. Kenseth going to try to get around him on the bottom. Can he make it stick all the way low? Jeff Gordon right on the back bumper. Had to back out to make sure he didn't run into Kenseth, but Kenseth with a great run out of the corner. Kurt Busch is going to duck low to follow the 17. Awkward position that Busch got put in. Here's Gordon on the bottom. Still, these 2 leaders, dead heat. Matt Kenseth will lead that lap this time. Casey Kane got clear of this pack behind in 7th place in the 38 car as they're 3 wide behind him. Trying to set his sights on the leader and fight up front with his title rival Kurt Busch up front. And Ricky Hendrick, the points leader, still mired back in the pack. The 21st position belongs to the 5 car of Ricky Hendrick, who is really struggling to find some headway in this field. 3 wide still back there as Kane's getting trapped with those guys. Tony Stewart retakes the lead while we were focused on the other title contenders back there. Greg Biffle now puts himself in the mix. There is nobody better at this racetrack than that 16 car as we've seen in years past. And he's up front yet again here today. Hasn't led a lap yet, but still up front pretty much this entire race has been with these guys in this mix up front. Kenseth gets back clear for second place. Kurt Busch trying to get around the 16 for third and does. Racing down the front stretch as Kenseth tries to block, but Kurt Busch goes to the inside, 3 wide for the lead as they race towards 1. Stewart gets left in the dust as they enter T1. Busch on the inside, Kenseth on the outside. Busch had to get way out of the throttle. Kenseth back clear on the outside. (17 v 20 yet again as Tony Stewart gets in line and ducks down low. Kenseth looking like he was pushing a bit tight there in turn 3, and Tony Stewart gets straight back past. Kurt Busch gonna take it 3 wide a second time down the front stretch. Halfway in the race as Stewart leads the lap. Battles between the 01 and the 20 now. Jeff Gordon maybe trying to spoil the party up the middle, couldn't quite get the nose there. Stewart will get clear on the outside yet again. The outside prevailing as it has all day long in defense. Stewart put a big margin behind him between these guys who are second, third, and further back. Ooh, Kurt Busch just a little loose in front of the 17 and 24. Down the front stretch, Stewart trying to figure out which lane to block. Casey Kane trying so desperately to get away from this traffic. How about Jamie McMurray as well, who started this race back there in the bottom 3 and is now all the way up into the top 15. What a race it has been for him to get back up in this mix in that 40 car. It is now the top 8 as Robbie Gordon and Bobby Labonte join this pack up front, but Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart pulling away a little bit as they continue to battle behind the 2 race leaders, 2 teammates, Kenseth and Biffle, still fighting for the second spot. You wonder if there's any bad blood from the Watkins Glen race last week when these 2 got into each other. Kenseth gonna try to maybe force the issue to get to the outside of Biffle, and does. Forces him down the racetrack. Again, the bad blood question, side by side for third. As they head through the corner side by side, and Kenseth will get around the 16. Kurt Busch trying to throw a block, but can't. All the way up the racetrack goes Kenseth to get side by side with Busch for P2. But the 01 stays clear into turn number 1. Kenseth maybe going to try to build a run on the outer line, but got a little bit tight, couldn't quite do it. Now Kurt Busch for the lead. This battle for the top spot has been relentless despite how few true changes there have been up front. It's mostly just been the defender has won the fight every single time. How about Kevin Harvick cutting his way through this front group? He takes it 3 wide for second place as they head towards turn 1. Down and into the corner, Greg Biffle gets clear of Harvick, now fighting with Kurt Busch as they leave the turn. Tony Stewart, which lane do you block? Down the backstretch, side by side for second, as these 2 guys are going to pull up to Stewart, maybe just a little bit. But Tony stays clear yet again. And looking like maybe pit stops now as Jeff Gordon's going to go up the racetrack and give these guys some space. Never mind, just a different lane choice there for Jeff Gordon. Couple of hitters, 68 and 00 into the pit lane early. And expecting pit stops now. Been around 20 laps since that last caution. Seeing some hitters here now. Mark Martin in as well, and now a big chunk of the back half of the field coming in. And can imagine, yep, Kurt Busch going to come into the pit lane here. Greg Biffle, 18, 17, 38, all coming in. Race leader Tony Stewart heads into the pit lane. The 2 Childress boys, that's Robbie Gordon and Kevin Harvick, are going to stay out on the racetrack. Chad Little in third, staying out as well. Jamie McMurray stays on the racetrack. As it is pit stops here, and a bit of a dust cloud there. Ooh, that one belonging to the 26 as he got ran into hard by David Green in the 21. John Wood also got ran into by the 26 himself. Casey Kane, one of the championship leaders, leaving his pit box now. Labonte out as well. Excuse me. As we head out of the pit lane, a great stop for the 18 and 38. Tony Stewart out in net P1. How about the shortcut? Mark Martin all the way up here with this lead group. That 06, where did he enter the pits in? He was in 27th place. What an undercut by Mark Martin. He moves all the way into what could be net P3. Rest of the leaders leaving the pit lane now as Kevin Harvick and Robbie Gordon leave the pits. And here comes leader Tony Stewart with Jeff Gordon in tow, as these two will take first and second. And yeah, Mark Martin gonna get around the 29 car. He gains 24 positions in the pit lane and moves all the way up into third. What a pit stop for the 06 team, as they are up a long way with that undercut. 21 car of David Green will be pulled off the racetrack for minimum speed here. He is a long, long way off the pace. And right in front of these leaders is going to have to get it in front of Stewart and Gordon. Jeff and Tony will get around the 21, who brings it into the pit lane. Stewart, your leader. Jeff Gordon in second. And a couple other undercutters as well. Dave Blaney all the way into the top 5, as well as Christian Elder in the 0, who moves into the top 10. Man, what a lineup shakeup here after these short pits from a lot of the guys in the back end of the field who have picked up a ton of spots thanks to that undercut. Expecting one more pit stop in this race, as that was maybe around 20 or less laps. Approaching 20 to go at the line. It'll be 2/3 of the race completed. As Tony Stewart emerges as one of the fast cars, has led a lot of laps in the middle portion of this race. Would be his 5th win of the season if he can take the checkered flag home today. And the guys on fresher stuff, Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, going to try to cut through on these undercutting drivers. I just cannot believe how much time Mark Martin and Blaney and Elder all made up thanks to the shortcut. That is a ton of time that those guys ended up picking up. And, ooh, blowing up there. Matt Kenseth going to pull into the pit lane as he loses a motor. No impediment, and right in front of the pits, so we are going to stay green. Goodness. Kenseth's engine just went up in smoke there. Sterling Marlin also going to pull into the pits in the 22. Not sure what the deal is with him, but an unscheduled pit stop for the 22 car, who comes in very early. So Kenseth will retire from the race. That's a tough thing to see, given that race car was looking very, very quick in today's race. Kurt Busch looking to move into that 3rd position ahead of Mark Martin in the 06 as they battle for 2nd place. Martin hanging tight on the outside. Going to be a dead heat down the backstretch between these two. Elder in the 0 up and into the top 5. These guys on the short pit strategy not really losing any headway either, given the fact that they were on a couple lap older tires, despite how much time they made up. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead, Jeff Gordon on the bottom. Tony Stewart gonna lead the lap, I believe, just about. A couple thousandths between the two leaders as Jeff Gordon all the way on the bottom, trying to take the top spot from Stewart, but couldn't get clear. But maybe a little bit of a better exit. And yes, Jeff Gordon slots into first. So the 24 takes the top spot, but Stewart going to try to cut underneath him now. A little bit of a worse exit as he was cutting it so tight, though, but they're going to be close. Jeff Gordon will take a lap lead here at the line. Kevin Harvick in the 29 moves up into third ahead of Kurt Busch. The 29 and 31 on the freshest stuff as they stayed out the longest. And the 40 car was also one of the ones that was out long. Chad Little in the 28 and Jeff Burton in the 99, a part of that club as well, though Burton a little bit further down the order, as well as Little, who's outside the top 10. McMurray, Gordon, and Harvick ones to watch on the best tires for this longer run here. Stewart and Jeff Gordon still fighting for the race lead as Gordon's led a couple laps in a row now. Into turn one, Tony Stewart trying to prevail on the inside, but had to get way out of throttle. Ran it just a little bit too low, and Jeff Gordon back clear on the outside. 24, 20, 01, 29, 31, your top five. .15 coming to 14 laps to go here from Michigan. Tony Stewart going to dive it in on the inside, trying to get around Gordon. Another desperate attempt to make that pass, but couldn't quite get around him yet again. Gordon with the defense on the outside. Kurt Busch with a big run down towards 3. Pulls all the way up to Stewart, and Tony's going to cut him the slack to get to the inside. Stewart maybe wanting to run the outer line and build up another run here, but couldn't stay in front of Kurt Busch, who sticks it on the inside. Tell you what, Sterling Marlin also pitting around 20 to go. Might have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Going to be tough. I'd like to check when that caution period was and when we went back green. It was lap number 17 coming to 18, and we pit around 36. So it is about 20 to 22 laps maybe on the run. So Sterling Marlin could be in an interesting position in that 22 car, given his choice of pit stop time. We will see if the 22 can make it to the end on fuel. Gordon comfortably out in front, dominating this stage of the race now as he holds off the 20 of Stewart. Busch, Robbie Gordon, and Kevin Harvick have all joined this pack up front, as has Greg Biffle in the 16, a couple of others in the form of Labonte in the 18, and Jimmy McMurray in the 40, Christian Elder in the 0, and the rest of this pack slowly pulling up as this run continues. 3 wide for second place in turn 2. Robbie Gordon all the way on the bottom. Trying to take it 3 wide. Couldn't gain any positions from it, but making his presence known down there. Stewart pulling up all the way to Gordon down the front stretch, pulling to the inside to try and fight for the lead. Harvick thought about taking it 3 wide. That would have been for third with Kurt Busch and Robbie Gordon. Dead heat with 10 laps to go. Stewart retakes the race lead. Gordon going to give him another run for his money, though, as they head off of turn 4. It was only a brief trade, and Jeff Gordon with the better exit is going to hold the lead anyway. No lead change documented despite the double swap. 24 takes the top spot, 20 in second. Tell you, man, this run by Christian Elder has emerged as the best of the guys who short pit all the way in 9th place and a part of this pack for the lead, as well as Jamie McMurray's recovery drive on the opposite end of the spectrum stayed out the longest, along with Harvick and Robbie Gordon. has come all the way up front. The battle for the lead. Stewart tried to block Robbie Gordon. 3 wide for the lead as they cross the stripe. 8 laps to go now. Look at this battle for the win up front late in this race. Stewart having to back out in the middle. Greg Biffle going around the outside. Side by side by the 2 Gordons for the lead as they head down the backstretch. Biffle puts himself in this mix side by side for second with Robbie Gordon. Gordon pulling all the way up to the other Gordon as they head out of turn number 4. Dead heat between the 31 and 24 leaving turn 4. 7 laps to go at the stripe. The lead at the line goes to Robbie Gordon leading his first lap today. Biffle tried to take it 3 wide up the middle. Jeff Gordon trying to defend all the way on the outside. He had to get under the throttle. Robbie Gordon to the lead. But Gordon had to breathe the throttle off the Gordon. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. This is so insane. Jeff Gordon on the outside. So much Gordon as the 24 is going to retake the lead on the outside lane. Stewart trying to block Harvick on the bottom as they go 3 wide for third down the front stretch. 24 over 31. Robbie Gordon another try at the race lead. 24 stays clear as they round turn number 2 and down the backstretch. It will be 5 laps to go at the line for your race leader, Jeff Gordon. Robbie Gordon way out of the gas there, out of turn 4. Harvick going to take it all the way to his teammate. He dives low. And we will have pit stops as the 00 and 68 were in that time. If you're Christian Elder and these guys that pit earlier, I think now's your time to come in. It's going to be 2 tires for some of these guys, but others might end up taking 0 if you stay out long enough. Battle for second place now is Biffle's going to go around the outside on the 31. Can some of them make it on fuel is the question. And there it is, Elder, Blaney, Martin all into the pits. This is going to be a very important pit stop for them. Here's the Michigan King, meanwhile, for the lead with 4 to go as the 16 trying to go around the outside on Jeff Gordon, and Greg Biffle has stolen the race lead here. Two tires for Blaney, none for Mark Martin, 2 for Bliss in the 81 car, as well as Elder and Dale Jr. Here comes the 16, 24, 20, and others. Staying out to take the race lead is going to be Robbie Gordon in the 31. Three laps to go. Does anybody have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race? That is an interesting question now. Will 2 or no tires prevail in this race? No tires for pretty much everybody from this point onwards as Robbie Gordon leads the final pit stops here. Jamie McMurray in the 40 will stay on the racetrack to take 2 laps to go. McMurray, the only one that stayed out that long. Can the 40 make it on fuel? Rounding turn 4, McMurray will stay on the racetrack. The white flag flies for the 40 car. Vickers and Burton out on the racetrack as well. This will be the last lap. McMurray a little slow, but he might be able to cruise from here. All the 40 car had talked about Jamie McMurray. They said it over and over again. The results were coming. I just want to win. Rounding turn 4 for the final time. Not the way you drew it up, but they will take it. Jamie McMurray finally is a winner here in the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series on fuel mileage. Jamie McMurray takes home the checkered flag and wins it here at Michigan. His first career victory and an unlikely win from the bottom 3 in the starting positions. Jamie McMurray, what a comeback! And he wins it here today in the Home Depot 400. Something you absolutely wanted to see out of that team, and McMurray wins it here on fuel mileage. Looking at the rest of the title contenders, Tony Stewart with a good finish as well, and Jeff Gordon will come home in 12th. The best of the main championship contenders, Kurt Busch 15th. It'll be 16th for Casey Kane, though. Not a bad finish out of the 38, just behind his rival. And the 5 car of Ricky Hendrick, a rough race today. He finishes in 28th. But the story today is Jamie McMurray, who wins his first career Coca-Cola Cup Series race. And that will do it here from Michigan. What a way to end this one. I wasn't quite sure we were going to get fuel mileage. I was playing into it, but Jamie McMurray extends that fuel tank all the way, and he is your victor here for Michigan. Finally. Everybody was just wondering when it would happen, and he finally has his first career win. And that team can breathe a sigh of relief. Just 4 cars on the lead lap after the fuel mileage. That will do it here from Michigan as Jamie McMurray takes home the win. His first career victory in the Cup Series from the 40th starting position. Just an unbelievable comeback for him here today. Jerry Nadeau with the top 5 as well. One of just 4 drivers to make it on fuel. McMurray, Vickers, Burton, and Nadeau were the ones who made it to the end there. And man, he cut it tight on the fuel. But McMurray, again, not the way that they planned on it, but will take their first victory here today. We'll catch you next time. The second third of the season will be ending at Bristol for race number 24 of the Cup calendar. I'm Caden Reif. We'll catch you then, and as always, have yourself a good one.
It's a long way to the top.